Good afternoon, Washington. Dan Mitchell here with the Washington Civil Rights Association. And I wanted to bring you a video update, as some people don't like to read all of the text, and I completely understand that. So you get to look at my ugly face while I try and give you a little bit of background information of where things are at right now. So we are on a constrained calendar, which is exceptionally important to understand for the semi-automatic rifle ban and how that's going to affect things. So put together a perspective calendar, and I'm going to share that with you now so that you can understand what dealers and manufacturers are faced with at this particular moment. So I'm going to screen share that and walk you through this. So hopefully you're seeing this properly now. And as opposed to my face, you're going to see this calendar. So right now, the Senate Law and Justice does not have the bill transferred over there as passed out of the House. So it's not on the calendar right now. However, I have spoken with a couple senators today, and they are adding meetings and hearings because they have 67 bills now in Law and Justice that they need to act on. So it's not on the schedule for this week or this next week. So I expect it's going to show up the following week. And most of these sessions get set on on Tuesdays. Most of our testimonies have been on Tuesdays, either at the 8:30 or the 10:30 sessions of the Law and Justice. So I would expect that the state Democrats really want to get this pushed through. You've seen that as, they wouldn't take any amendments in the House, even common sense one that would just give dealers 90 days to deliver existing product that's in background check status and what's in their inventories. So they declined to do that, even though we had an agreement with some of them to give us a little bit of leeway. But they pulled that at the last minute and then just took it to the floor and voted. So I expect this is going to move through fairly quickly. So we can expect something right there on the 21st. For hearings, and we will want to have lots of people signed in to testify and to let people know about that. Very likely that following Friday, we'll see it go to the executive session. So there'll be some debate internally before it gets put out to the Senate Rules Committee. Once it's in the Rules Committee, it's just an administrative process. So they will pull that through and get it set up to go to the floor. At that point, I would expect them to pull it to the floor probably on Monday or Tuesday for a Senate vote. I'm sure there will be vigorous debate on the floor, and perhaps we'll get some amendments put in. However, early indications from our communications with various senators is that their intent is to pass it as is with no amendments at all. And you can thank some of the folks in the Law and Justice, the hardcore anti-gunners there. The constitutionality is in the eye of the beholder, folks. So realistically, we'll see a vote for this come up that week between the 27th and the 31st. But again, that's not guaranteed. This is just anticipated. If it gets passed through the Senate with no changes, so it doesn't have to go to a concurrence session in the House, I wouldn't expect the governor to sign it on Friday because they don't have enough time to set up their party, and they're going to have every newspaper reporter and every photographer, every TV station they can find invited to this wonderful, spectacular event that they're going to throw. So I would expect they would pull it up on Monday so they get a complete and full week's worth of press. You don't want to do it on Friday when everyone's heading out of town. Everybody's leaving on the 31st. So come back and do it on the 3rd, where you have so many people that you can get to come to your little party. So then I've noted here we have Happy Injunction Day, since they've put an emergency clause on this, because we've had so many people harmed with semi-automatic rifles in the last month. Wait, there weren't any? Okay, the last year. Oh, there weren't any in the last year either. I guess we're going to have to go back 3 or 4 years to find the emergency of why this had to go into effect the day it was signed. But anyways, that's my expectation. It could drag out a little bit. The Senate has an awful lot of business to take care of in the Law and Justice Committee. So let me walk through a couple of the other dates here. So if that's the case, semi-automatic rifles have a 10 business day hold. That's business days, Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays do not count. So realistically, your last day to make a purchase would be Sunday the 19th, whereas they could it'd go through the 10 business days, and then the dealer would be able to release it on the 1st or the 2nd. And technically, they could release it on the 3rd up until the governor's pen struck the paper. So realistically, my projection is this is what it looks like. It could slide. All that's really going to slide is that governor's signing date. So if it moves by a few days here to there, realistically, it's just going to be that signing date. But keep in mind, this is going to be a huge press event for the Democratic Party, the administration, the governor, the attorney generals, and the ranking majority members in the Law and Justice Committee. So this is signature legislation for them. So let's talk about a couple things that are really important to know here. Like my business, we have stopped doing all transfers, private party transfers, effective today, because we're going to run into some serious problems with folks. If they have a 10-day waiting period, if they get delayed or denied, we're going to start running into not being able to deliver it. So we've ceased all private party transfers. We've ceased anything that we haven't received by the 15th. We are going to refuse to accept for the very same reason. We're going to run into these 10 business day issues with all of the semi-automatic rifles, and we may or may not be able to get them delivered to you in the time frame. Never mind if the governor if they passed this on Tuesday and the governor decided to sign it on Thursday, we're going to get an awful lot of firearms stuck in here, and nobody wants to have to go through that. I, as a dealer, don't want to have to go through that. I, as an individual citizen and a purchaser, would not want to have to go through that. I would want my money tied up, so on and so forth. So we're taking measures from a business standpoint to protect ourselves from upsetting customers any more than this law already is. So I'm going to say this, I can't say it any louder or more clearly. You really need to support your local shops right now. They need to sell the inventory that they have, because come this day, Governor's signing day, they can't sell it. And under 1639, the commerce restriction that's been challenged in court by us with the Second Amendment Foundation and Robin Ball's or Sharpshooting Spokane, we're precluded from selling a semi-automatic rifle to a non-resident of the state of Washington. So we have nothing to do with this inventory other than basically eat it. And obviously there's a lot of activity right now, and we can't take the risk of having to refund people or dealing with all the returns of items and so on and so forth. So go support your local shops right now. Help them chew through their inventory. Understand that if you're trying to go online and get a great deal on something, that's going to be very problematic. You should have been prepared for this a long time ago. And I'm not blaming you, because whoever thought it was going to happen, unless you paid attention to the magazine ban, which happened last year. So realistically, you really want to support your local shops. If you're trying to do a transfer now, you're going to be hard pressed, I think, to find dealers that are going to accept them and want to get wrapped up in this debacle. So I'm going to take the screen share off now so you get to look at my beautiful face for a few more minutes. All right, a couple other things to go through that are happening right now. Next Tuesday, over in the House Civil Rights and Judiciary Committee, which we have a great member on, Representative Jim Walsh. I believe he's out of the 19th district. He is the ranking member on that committee. And this is the firearms liability bill that was pushed through the Senate, which is a direct violation of the PLCAA, the federal law. And this law has been struck down in New Jersey and New York already. In New Jersey, it was struck down by a Biden-appointed federal judge. And the judge not only struck the bill down, but he went on to say the bill constitutes a violation of the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments as well. But he didn't need to address those because it was already patently illegal under federal law. The states can't pass laws that make a business responsible for the independent action of a third party. Firearms manufacturers are liable, dealers are liable if they do something and they break the law. They already have civil liability to that. They can already be sued by their state, by their attorney generals, and by citizens. This just opens up the door to nuisance lawsuits, and it's really meant to force the gun business out of business. We, as a small gun shop, we would very likely lose our liability insurance. And my insurance costs me about $28,000 a year right now. And my carrier basically said that they would not be allowed to carry coverage for us. And that's a very difficult thing to be in business, where you can't hold any sort of liability policy against things happening on your place of business or something bad happening, whether somebody's slipping on the floor and cracking their head, or tripping in the parking lot, or pinching their finger in the action of a firearm where they're trying something out. So it's patently illegal, and it's one of the methods that the national gun groups have been trying to get implemented across the country, and it's been getting taken down. But they're going for it here anyway. So we will fight this vigorously. We'll put a link down below, where you can go and sign in as opposed to this bill. Another big movement that we saw, this was on Friday. Now, this is House Bill 1705. This is from the last legislative session, and that goes into effect today. That is the serialization of self-made firearms. They refer to them as ghost guns. These are self-made firearms. Ghost guns include illegal firearms that have had serial numbers obliterated and things like that. These are for lawfully manufactured firearms, requiring to have a serial number placed on them, regardless of whether you sell them, which is the requirement under federal law. So Silent Majority Foundation, the good folks over there, Pete Serrano, they have filed this lawsuit in the state court in Stevens County. So small county in eastern Washington, and where they have a harmed party. And they are going through the state court process, Article 1, Section 24, as an impairment on Washington citizens' ability to possess and use a firearm lawfully. So that's great news to see that happening. Fully expect a lot of legal action here in the next several weeks, moving around and affecting some of this legislation that we see going forth, as well as other things. So the Pro 2A attorney groups right now are getting paid very, very well. The great part is when they win most of these cases, the defendant, the folks that they're suing, have to pay the legal bills. So I look forward to seeing the assault weapons ban in federal court. and watching the governor's fancy signing party and listen to all the accolades they give to themselves and pats on the back, and then watching the state of Washington write a check to those parties that are victorious in the challenges to that bill. So something people have been asking me for, and we've refused to do it for the last 5 years. We've done everything on a volunteer basis, but literally have had people wanting to stick cash in my hands, which I don't like. Well, I appreciate it, but I don't like dealing with cash for things like this. But checks and people want to send money to us to help us with our fight here in Washington. So the Washington Civil Rights Association, we've had a GoFundMe account that we set up a while ago, but we never went active with it because we're a bunch of volunteers. Everything that we do is on a volunteer basis. We've never needed to really pay for anything. We had our own internal experts that could do PR and social media and all of our IT stuff. And what we're finding is, we're tired. We all have regular jobs. This is all volunteer stuff that we do. And these sessions just really zap the energy out of you. So we're looking at hiring some people on contract basis to help us administer some of these functions, both what you see in the social media realm as well as what we're doing, sort of back of the house with organization, education, and things like that. So we have set up a GoFundMe. It is live now. If you at the website, go to Washington Civil Rights Association, you'll see it there. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to ask you, be patient with your local gun shops. Their staffs are absolutely on edge. They are getting overloaded, and folks are getting anxious. So they're projecting some of that negativity onto the shops and the employees, and projecting negativity onto a gun shop employee is a very poor choice of things to do. Be nice, be kind, be patient. That's in everything in life. Be kind, be nice, be patient. But especially if you're trying to make a last minute purchase here, you need to be just extra nice. I've seen several food items, boxes of donuts brought to our shop. I'm probably going to gain a few pounds the next few weeks on those little fat pills, but I've got plenty of room to hide them, so I will probably take advantage of every donut that shows up. In part, Washington, we've got some dark and stormy seas ahead, and it's going to be a very, very unusual few months going forward, and we will persevere in this. Absolutely 100% confident of that. But we need to stay vigilant. We need to stay in the fight. There's things we can do. We can get signed in on that firearms liability law for that hearing, sign in against that. When the assault weapons hearing gets set, get signed in against that. And we'll try and break the record we set last year with almost 15,000 people sign in opposed to the magazine ban. Of course, we saw how well that went with 15,000 citizens voicing their opinion and being abjectly ignored. But dark and stormy seas. And I won't make any promises that it's going to be any fun for a while. But I'm going to tell you right now, we have a way better boat than the state of Washington does. So just get in, strap on, and we're going to go for a hell of a ride. So thank you for your time. And as more information comes up, we will share that both in video and in text across our social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the website as well. So again, thank you very much for your support for all these years. Thank you for your support in coming weeks and coming months, and let's stick to it, and we will win. We will come back on the top side of this, and we will persevere and win. So I have absolute confidence in that. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great day.